Hey there, it's Stephanie from Garden Therapy, and today I want to show you how to make newspaper pots using this handy dandy little tool, newspaper pot maker, that's included with our latest Garden Therapy seed collection, the Superfoods collection. The Superfoods collection is a series of vegetable seeds that I've collaborated with Garden Trends on. I went through the whole Garden Trends catalog and I found the seeds that produce plants that had more nutrition in them than the average bear, more nutrition than their average counterparts, for example. So there's like tomatoes with higher lycopene. Tasty Lee is a tomato that is recognized by the American Heart Association as having a higher lycopene count, which makes it a much more heart healthy vegetable or fruit, depending on what you call a tomato. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones in here that have higher nutritional counts or specific nutritional properties that other vegetables don't have. But I won't go into all that today. You can go to Garden Therapy and read our blog, and you can see each one of them and read about why they're all so awesome and why I picked them. But what I wanted to show you is that along with these awesome seeds comes the newspaper pot. And so with this newspaper pot, you can make your own little mini greenhouse. So I've got one here that I made. Let's move this guy out of the way. Here's my little mini greenhouse that I made. It's a salad box. So it came from a superfood, organic baby spinach, and which I actually buy in the winter, but not as much because I like to grow it. And then I bought it for the box because the box makes an awesome greenhouse. It fits all these little pots in. You see I've got soil in there, and then I can turn it into a little greenhouse like that while the seeds are germinating. And when they germinate, those little green leaves start to pop up, take it off so it releases the humidity and they can reach up for the sun. So I'll show you how to make some of those really quickly and easily using materials that are really easy to find, like newspaper. So the little pot maker comes in two parts. It's got this bottom part here and this top part. This is how you press the paper pot, and that's how you roll it. So I'll leave that together for now. Now you want to do paper. You want to cut your paper into strips. And the strip should be about 3.5 inches by about 12 inches long. This newspaper, this local newspaper, is exactly 12 inches long, so it's perfect. Or if you're in Canada, 30 centimeters by 9 centimeters. And so, or the UK. And so, yeah, so it was just perfect. And if I measured this into thirds, then it was actually the exact dimensions that come in the instructions for the paper pot maker. So all I'm going to do is take, this is half of the newspaper, and you see it's got quite a number of sheets here. I'm going to take it and fold it into thirds, like this. And that gives me a general idea of how long each of them are going to be. And so now I can take a paper cutter, this awesome little paper cutter here, scooch my paper in along the third line mark that I just measured, and give it a zip. And there we've got a bunch of strips. So easy. Here we go. Here's another one. Again, I'll put the cutter over on this side. Yep, that's the right side. There we go. Some more strips and more strips. Now, if you're concerned about using newspaper as something in your garden because of the ink on it, you see it's got quite a bit of ink that's being printed on it. I've done the research, and most of the papers have soy-based ink, which composts just fine in your garden. I mean, I always try to look for the pages that don't have as much ink on them, but as you can see, it can be really hard to find. So it's not really something to worry about. The soy ink will compost in your garden without too much of an issue. It's not going to cause any toxicity to the plants. So it's definitely something that you can be able to use in your compost, or that you make paper pots with. So what you want to do to make the pots is lay out a strip like this. And I've got a double layer, so 2 sheets together. And then lay your paper pot form here in the middle. And sort of, you don't want to do it too snug. Gently roll it around and then pinch where the seam is first, and then pinch all the rest of the way around like that, and use the form press here at the bottom. It's so handy, look at that, pop, and there you go. It's got a little pot, it holds together, you can fill it with soil, and this will last for a couple of months. Keep it well watered. As it starts to decompose, you can pop it right in the garden. After these little guys are ready to go in the garden, I would rip back the paper so that none of the paper is up above the soil line, because that can wick moisture away. But if you leave it in the garden, plant it all the way down, that'll just decompose, or you can just gently pull the pots off, and that will also be a really handy way to plant them. So you can make up a bunch of those pretty quickly, as you can see. It's a fun project to do with kids. My son comes in after school every day and makes a couple of pots just because he thinks it's fun. So hopefully this will give you some tips on how you can reuse something to create something wonderful and grow something wonderful for your garden this year. Thanks so much.